Good midday to you. This is the midday moment for July the 14th, 2026, here on Following Him, the Disciple Life. Sneako, not very sneaky. There was a post recently from Sneako, kind of a manosphere guy, prominent anti Semite, or as I prefer to call it, just calling it what it is, Jew hater. Not a Jew that is hateful, but somebody that apparently does hate Jewish people. Recently had a post that it's typical hatefulness towards Israel sort of thing, anti-Semitic stuff, and left the AI prompt in. This was apparently something he used AI on. Now, I'm going to try to be fair with this. I don't think that he used AI to help him with this post is necessarily the big problem. I think the problem comes out by the sort of prompt that he used. And this is kind of a funny and very embarrassing thing. And, we use, people use spell check, people use thesauruses. And I do think there's a legit place to use AI as a tool if you're trying to say, I want to find a better way to word this, and you just ask AI, hey, what would be a more succinct way to put this, or a way where the sentence isn't so long. I don't see that as being a problem, but it's optimize it for X, and that can be fair, and give more shock factor. Now that when people tell you who they are, believe them. Or as Jesus talked about in Matthew 7:15, by their fruit you shall know them. It's that last part of the prompt. I would submit it's not so much that he used AI to help him with this, because it does sound like he had an idea at first for something to post. And if he wanted to, take the time to put it online, he wanted it to get exposure. That makes sense. And, want to find a good way to put something. Hey, let's say that's just all legit, just using it as a tool to better communicate, fine. But that tells you his motivation, and give more shock factor. There are people that know, and ironically, Nick Fuentes dealt with this recently. Now, I would submit Nick Fuentes is the cause of a lot of the shock factor stuff against the Jewish people and against Israel. So he was talking recently about a problem that he caused. And so it's a little, not a little bit hypocritical. It's very hypocritical. And you wonder, it's like, yeah, dude, when you're talking about this thing, you caused it. But talked about how people understood that if you put outrageous things, essentially, this isn't exactly how I put it, but this is to sum it up, that if you put outrageous things out there about Israel, about the Jewish people, that you're going to get clicks and likes. And that tells you a little something about people's motivation. Now, we would need more information to know everything about somebody's motivation and why they think what they do. But it's not a good look, to say the least, when you find out that they put out something for the shock factor. The shock factor, yeah, it gets the clicks and likes, and particularly when it's a trend. And as weird and disturbing as it is to say, anti-Semitism is a trend among some people right now, and it's ridiculous. I would never think that in 2026 we would be here. I think maybe some of it, that pendulum swing that happens sometimes, because you have people trying so hard to not be racist that they kind of end up making a full circle and became racist. And now we got some, it's like there's kind of a pendulum swing, and some gladly adopting racism and ethnicism and that sort of thing. But Sneako is not very sneaky. And I do think that this recent flub, which, something else, it could just be just something to laugh about and be good humored about, but just the nature of this, give more shock factor. It says a lot about somebody like him. And a lot of people in the manosphere, in the manosphere, which seems to have crossed over for some into the anti-Semitism thing, which is just weird to me because anti-Semitism and racism is not very manly. It points to a weak and pathetic male, not a man. But it will tell you who people are. Not very sneaky. When people tell you who they are, believe them. You have a good rest of the day, and shalom.